Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kind of for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. I don't have any videos immediately for you today, but I have a lot of stuff to go over. Anyway, folks, let's see. Welcome in all our peeps in the room. Starting out, AVQ with Michael Rudd in Brooklyn, New York is in the house. Welcome aboard, Michael. Oh, you got a lot of stuff. Oh, you sure have a lot of stuff. Anyway, we also have in the house Eric Hayes from Atascocita, Kingwood, May Wood from Long Beach, California, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia, Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas, Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. As our peeps come on in, let me go ahead and bring online our Substack as well, folks. You know, we are on so many different channels. Okay. Substack is firing up. Quite a few people already. Anyhow, folks, let's get busy. Michael Rodriguez Egberto. I'm on my way out today, so I wanted to front load, highlight a few stories of hardship and injustice. Red hats won't change until they are personally adversely affected. Trump effing them over before they realize Trump doesn't care about them is only using them for power. Doesn't have to be a racist roundup to do it, but that's just one of the ways. Understand that there have always been more stories like this, and there will be so many more cases the future. Yet this is your early warning signal. The pattern of history goes that soon enough neither your citizenship nor your skin color will be any defense when the modern Gestapo come for you. First one's a double. All right, here it is from Michael Rudden again. It says, the New Republic ICE detained his wife. He still doesn't regret voting for Trump. Bradley Bartell, a Wisconsin Trump supporter, witnessed the arrest of his Peruvian wife, Camila Munoz, last month. Munoz had overstayed her visa during the pandemic, but had no criminal history and had recently applied for her green card, something that the couple believed would be enough to keep her from becoming the target of Trump administration. It wasn't. Instead, ICE agents tore her away from her husband at the airport as the couple returned from their belated honeymoon in Puerto Rico. I saw that story last week. Now she is in with ICE. And he doesn't regret his vote for Trump? I think his wife should be concerned about that statement. All right, Newsweek. Trump voters seriously considering leaving U.S. after wife's ICE arrest. Bradley Bartell told Newsweek, I've been seriously considering moving to Peru. If they deport her, nothing is for certain yet, but it is in the back of my mind. Bartell traveled more than 2,000 miles to visit his wife, currently detained at an ICE center in Louisiana. Why it matters, millions of Americans supported Trump, drawn to his promise of large-scale deportation targeting migrants living in the U.S. unlawfully, especially those with criminal records. However, as immigrant forces operations accelerate nationwide, concerns are growing that the administration is targeting nonviolent offenders and migrants with no gang ties. Immigrant and Customs Enforcement ICE agents have detained nonviolent offenders and legal permanent residents. Let me explain something to you. The problem is if you tell yourself a lie long enough, you start to believe it. Not only do you start to believe it, your sycophants are counting on it. So while Donald Trump was hoping that he could show a whole lot of criminals getting arrested and being thrown in the gulag, right? Getting thrown into jails, all these private prisons that are going to get built to hold all these criminal immigrants, right? But here's the problem. The criminality of immigrants have always been a farce. I repeat, The criminality of immigrants have always been a force. We, the progressives, have been telling Americans, for anyone who would listen, that immigrants in general are good people. Are there some gangs that are going to sneak in because, yeah, but we have gangs of Americans sneaking in every country in the world. So every now and then you get a onesie twosie, and everybody, when one immigrant commits a crime, everybody puts it up and they give it more news coverage. But it never is what is the reality. So now Donald Trump wants to be able to show that he can deport a lot of people, all these criminals. The problem is there are not enough of them all out there. So when he says, I am going to be deporting all those criminals that are killing Americans, all those criminals that are raping Americans, all those criminals that are those immigrant criminals that are doing all these things, they don't exist. Because after you deport the dozens that do these things, you're left with everybody else. And of course, you said that you're going to start with the criminals. Well, you run out of those pretty damn quick. You run out of the criminal immigrants pretty damn quick. So, of course, then you have to deport this Peruvian guy's wife. And this clown who's married to the Peruvian doesn't yet realize the force that took his wife away from him. He doesn't get the force that took his wife away from him. Anyhow, so again, folks, when you fall for the fallacy, when you start to believe these things, and it's time to put it into reality, Donald Trump can't deport enough people. He can't find people to deport. The deporter in chief in this country was somebody least expected to be, and that is President Barack Obama. Biden probably deported at his highest level many more people than Trump could ever dream of deporting. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying those are the statistical facts. That's it. The statistical facts. Okay, continuing from The Guardian, Trump supporters wrongly detained by ICE questions his support for president. Genzi Machado, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Virginia, believes U.S. Immigration Agency profiles Hispanic people. I told him I was an American citizen. He looked at his other partner like, smiling, saying, can you believe this guy? They will assume that we are all illegals. They're just following Hispanic people. Though Machado described himself as a Trump supporter, he said his faith in Trump's administration has diminished following his detainment. Sadly, people don't understand Latinos, right? I suggest they start understanding that Latinos have the same prejudices as anybody else. And some Latinos believe in this concept of proximity to whiteness gives them a step above those other dark people. And, the thing about it is they don't understand the real concepts of what it means to be an American. All right, from the New Republic. Oh, wait, let me see. Is that one from the New Republic? This one is from NBC News. She hoped Trump would revive her farm. Now she worries his policies could bankrupt it. Rebecca Carlson planned to use a USDA grant to hire overseas worker for her cherry harvest. A funding freeze has left her in debt and unsure whether she can hire the workers after her farm has been caught up in the widespread government funding freeze, jeopardizing her ability to hire the workers she needs this season. Left her $200,000 in debt, and she's unable to access the grant money that had been awarded to her farm. Why again? Donald Trump. Another red state person realizing Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about them. The New Republic, Trump's border czar, admits ICE is arresting plenty of innocent people. Tom Homan, we have numerous collateral arrests. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Collateral arrests are gone. People who aren't criminals that are found when we're looking for the criminals are gonna be taken into custody. Yeah, they are. Remember that Canadian woman? They didn't even find her. She went and said, hey, my visa expired. I need to renew it. They arrested her, threw her in the gulag. That's America for you. All right, let's see. Another one, the last one from Miguel Rudnin. CNN, tattoos, pro-Hamas flyers, deleted photos. These are just a few of the pieces of evidence that the Trump administration has cited in its legal efforts to detain and deport migrants from the United States in high-profile actions in the past few weeks. The evidence has been cited in efforts to send over 200 Venezuelans to prison in El Salvador for alleged gang membership. to detain pro-Palestinian activists and green card holders without charging with any crime, and to deport a doctor with a visa to Lebanon. People in immigration court already face a lower standard of due process in proceedings, but immigration attorneys said the Trump administration moves reflect a stark deterioration of migrant civil liberties. Ta-da-ta, ta-da-ta, ta-da-ta. There you go. We're in difficult times. As a naturalized citizen, a few people were asking whether we can travel and get back into the country, right? Well, this lawyer on TikTok said, well, if you're a born American citizen, no problems whatsoever. But if you are a naturalized American citizen, and of course, your passport says your country of birth, theoretically speaking, they can check any thing that you may have said that is incorrect on your application. And if something doesn't square, they can revoke your American citizenship. Well, I bet that my I's were dotted and my T's were crossed, but a lot of people's I's aren't. So we're in some tenuous times, people. We're in tenuous times. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Para ver. Lee the Bearcat says, how about the Dallas rep Crockett creating a hot mess? I don't think she created a hot mess because she said Hot Wheels, our governor. I forgot our governor's name. How can I forget our government named that criminal? But anyway, Greg Abbott. All right, here's the deal. She called him Hot Wheels Abbott. And let me just say pointedly, I really don't care. Doesn't bother me. She came out and said it had nothing to do with his disability. The truth of the matter is, even if it did, I wouldn't care. And let me explain why. This guy is so evil that he has passed tort reforms. Let's put it back. The way Greg Abbott ended up in that wheelchair is that a tree fell on him. A tree fell on him, messed up his back. Spinal injury, he can't really walk. All right? That's how he got into that wheelchair. And for that, he has been taken care of for life. Greg Abbott sued, and he got a lump sum, and then he got a monies that is paid to him every year, a whole lot of money every year for his injury. And what did Greg Abbott do the first time he got a chance to do it in the Texas legislature? He passed a type of tort reform that makes it illegal for the kind of suit that gave him all that money. So if you think for 1 minute, I don't care what they do against Abbott. I don't care how they chide him. I don't care how they ridicule him. I don't care how they expose him. I don't care how they do it. He is aptly deserving of it. I'm not talking about disabled. Hell, I have a daughter that is currently disabled after having had 2 strokes. I have very much empathy for every disabled person. Hell, I could consider myself disabled. I have a metal rod on my spine that prevents my too much mobility. Okay? So here is the deal. This guy is evil. Greg Abbott is evil. And there's nothing Crockett can say about Greg Abbott that she needs to apologize for. And luckily, so far, she made it clear. She has no apologies for him. No, she was not mocking people with disabilities. She was mocking Greg Abbott, as she should. As I would continue to support her in doing. Absolutely. Kudos to our great Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, kudos to you, girl. All right, let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says 18 USC 793F makes it a crime to remove national defense information from its proper place through gross negligence. Doesn't matter whether info was classified. Signal chat is not a proper place. He needs to go. Remember what I played yesterday? For those of you who don't remember, here it is again. Pete Hegseth, he has a big mouth. He's always telling people, like, if you do this, you need to pay the price. If you do this, you need to pay the price. With Hillary Clinton, he really got on her case. Well, now it's him on the hot seat. So I want you to listen to what he thinks. How would Pete Hegseth of 2016 deal with Pete Hegseth of 2024? Well, you know what? Let's see how he'll do. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Any security professional, military, government, or otherwise, would be fired on the spot for this type of conduct and criminally prosecuted for being so reckless with this kind of information. Even one hiccup causes a problem. Any security professional, military, government, or otherwise, would be fired on the spot for this type of conduct and criminally prosecuted for being so reckless with this kind of information. Even one hiccup causes a problem.
All right. Pete Hegseth of 2016. Meet Pete Hegseth of 2024. Do your job. Fire Pete Hegseth. Come on, Pete Hegseth of 2016. Fire Pete Hegseth of 2024. That is what we need to do. That is what we need to do. Ray Brackens. How you doing, my brother, Ray?
Am I live?
Yes, you're live.
All right. Yeah. So I was actually, that's funny how, you bring up those receipts for Pete Hegseth and all those other, they're bootleg.
Yeah, continue, Ray. Somebody else is on the line as well, but continue, Ray.
Yeah, but I want to say kudos to Jasmine Crockett as well. She don't have any reason to apologize. As a matter of fact, that lets me know that Jasmine Crockett is close to the community, because I know on authority that me and about 12 other people referred to Governor Abbott as Hot Wheels, the hot ass mess. So that's just basically her way of speaking back to us like, I got y'all. I know who is the enemy here. And as far as his disability and how he got there, that's despicable. And it's funny how people, I know you don't go down to name calling, but I just can't see how these dimwits that call themselves Republican voters are constantly supporting these corrupt politicians who will take advantage of a system. Just like you said, he had a big lawsuit, he got a lump sum, and he's getting an annuity on top of that. But when it came down to anybody else who is not named Greg Abbott having that actual ability and that privilege, he said, nope. He closed the door behind him. And that's exactly what those Republicans do. And I don't know, you got to be Stevie Wonder, you got to be Ray Charles, because he's blind and dead to not see that these people, I'm trying to keep it clean, don't have your best interest. And it would only be your prejudice of your own hate that keeps you supporting somebody that's clearly telling you that somebody is going to pick your pocket and they already got their hand in it. Exactly. Let me step back. That was a lot.
Exactly right, brother. But let me tell you, you're right. I don't do the name calling thing because, again, others can take care of that just fine. Jasmine Crockett is good at it with civility. Now, like I said, folks, the important thing that everybody needs to know is don't allow Greg Abbott or his sycophants to somehow use that Hot Wheels statement by Jasmine Crockett to apply any sympathy to him. He deserves none. He got paid a hell of a lot with the lawsuit for his injury, and then he closed the door for those people behind him. You doubt it? Look it up. The guy is an evil human being. Let me go to hold a second there. Telephone number 346. Who are you? 346. Start an area code. Come on in.
Yeah, this is Harry Benson. How are you, Egberto?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you're this morning. Well, what I want to talk about, because I heard some things when I was listening to Michael Nixon's show this morning. But before I get into that, I wanted to know, Egberto, since your daughter Ashley has had two strokes, does she get Social Security disability? Is she signed up for that?
She had to sign up for that to get actual insurance. Nobody insures a person with two strokes except in an employment plan, my brother. It is sad.
Oh, yeah, it is sad. See, that's why when you hear people like Gary, who was talking on Michael Woodson's show, talking about the billionaires and how have more billionaires and Donald Trump's way of thinking for the billionaires is the way to go, and and I heard Johnny talk earlier. I've always kudos to Johnny. These, people like Barry, they, I guess they believe all that craziness that these Republicans and central Democrats put out there. I just don't like the fact that I'm not okay with them not, Barry's not paying taxes. I'm not okay with them not paying their fair share of taxes. They need to pay their fair share of taxes because Woodson was talking about the Bernie and the AOC rallies in Denver and Arizona, and I listened to some of those rallies, and all Bernie is doing is what he was doing.
All right, here's the deal. Hey,
What he was doing.
you're breaking up real bad, Harry. So I understand where you're coming from. I in one of the subjects.
Yeah, what he was doing in
Anyway,
Go
Ray,
ahead.
I'm going. I can't get. You're coming in with too much static. But here's what I'm going to do. I have a subject I want to talk about today from my book, How to Make America Utopia. And when I go over that, I'm going to
Uh-huh.
talk about that stuff with billionaires as well. You see, we have to understand one thing, Harry. Americans, from the time you were
Mm-hmm.
birthed, from the time Americans were birthed, okay, we have had to be indoctrinated into a system of slavery. And I'm not talking about the slavery
Right.
based on one's pigmentation. I'm talking about the slavery, an enslaved mind. And that's what we've had from our inception. And I'm going to try to slowly dispel some of that. We must have grace with all these other folks because, again, indoctrination works with a whole lot, and some of us can break it. Others it's harder. But I gotta hang the phones up right now, guys, because I want to continue with the other
Okay.
subject and read some of the chat. Or do you
Okay.
have anything else to say, real quick, Ray, before I hang the phone up?
Oh,
No, just shout out to Brother Harry. I love hearing you in the morning whenever I hear you. So now we on the evening. So
I
that's
love,
all. But I'm
I
gonna keep
love,
on listening just
I
like you go.
love, I love that you guys are, we're doing both shows whenever you can, etc. So kudos to Harry, kudos to you, brother. All right, folks, let's go ahead and let me first read a few things. Bruce Pollard is in the house from Minnesota. He's in Minneapolis. Welcome aboard, Bruce. Lee the Bearcat is here as well from Austin, Texas. And Bridge MCP, I think I spoke to her. Bridge has a long one for me. She says, Egberto Willis, Trump signs sweeping executive order targeting election rules. Election law experts were quick to question whether the order is legal. It's not legal, Breach. President Donald Trump on Tuesday signed a sweeping executive order seeking the change of how elections are administered across the country, especially related to citizenship. The executive order also requires the Election Assistance Commission, an independent agency, to add proof of citizenship to the National Voter Registration Form. States are required to accept that national form under federal law, but can still create their own voter registration forms. The order immediately sparked concerns among voting rights experts who said the president may not even legally have the authority to do the same thing as directed in the order, which he does not. If allowed to go in effect, it could disrupt how Americans vote and have their ballots not counted. Let me just give you a few things about that rule, right? That rule doesn't accept your birth certificate as a proof of citizenship, but it accepts certain IDs that don't require proof of citizenship as an ID. It is sick, sick, sick. It is another form of voter suppression. All right, don't forget that. All right, welcome E2247 from all over the place. Who else have we got here? Brija also says, Egberto, the chat is now readable, calling the bluff of the cabinet. That was not real. The Atlantic published it, but left out the CIA undercover agents. Yeah, he's the only one who did the responsible thing. Welcome aboard, Stagen Burger Creek. Stagen, I always forget where you're from. AC Rodriguez is in the house. He says, every group of people has their biases and prejudices. Latinos in general gravitate towards whiteness because of colonization. Exactly, exactly. And you can see, you can look at a Dominican that is, 10 shades of 10 shades darker than I am, and you'll say, tú eres negro. And they'll say, no, 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 yo soy dominicano. Right, AC Rodriguez? Dominicans, the most African Dominican. And you say, hey, are you black? And they'll say, "Oh no, 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 I'm Dominican." It is amazing. I'm from Panama. As I've mentioned in my book, I accept all of my identities, right? Tribulations of an Afro Latino Caribbean man. I'm a Latino, I'm a black man, I'm a Caribbean man, and I'm a West Indian. I have all those identities in this one little frame, and I accept them all. Isn't it so much easier to do that? All right, we have in the house Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. How are you doing, beautiful? Great to have you here. All right, what else have we got here? What else have we got here? Para ver, para ver. Lead Bearcat says house sales are in the pooper, so not a lot of need for construction. It's in the pooper because the prices are too damn high and people don't make enough. There you go. And why are the prices high? Because we don't have the builders to build it at a better economical rate. There you go. Lots of investments come in due to the avoid tariffs. I think number is up to 3 trillion. That is good. No, 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 because that's only half of the equation. You remember when you were learning algebra, you learned about balanced equations? You can't just look at all these companies are coming back to build in the United States. Let's remember this here because tariffs are a double-edged sword. You want to have tariffs to help certain industries grow. But in the process of making certain industries grow via tariffs, the trade-off is higher prices for those products that otherwise would have been made efficiently somewhere else. So I can see we are paying $1 for a t-shirt or $2 for a t-shirt, and we've lost our entire textile industry from South Carolina, North Carolina. You may say, wow, at those ridiculously low prices, we can afford some inflation within the base price of t-shirts, etc. So let's put tariffs on these to revive our textile industries because we don't want to leave in America without the ability to make enough clothes if something happens to the supply chain. So that makes sense. Create companies, allow them to then enter the competing fold. But what Trump is trying to do is not that. He's just throwing tariffs out there with the expectation of all of us paying that sales tax, which is the increased price in the product, so that he can give that money that you are going to pay the government. Because remember, the tariffs isn't paid by foreign countries. You pay the tariff. You pay the tariff. And when you pay the tariff, that goes into the government's coffers, and then they go to, and they don't give that money back to you, which ideally they should use that money to build roads, build streets, give scholarships to kids to go back to school. But they don't. They're just giving that money back to billionaires. Not back. They're just giving that money to billionaires with tax cuts so I understand it. The other half of the equation is as more products are built here, even inefficient products, it will cause the prices to increase. Not only the prices of the product they're building here, but the further prices of the products we import, because there will be retroactive tariffs placed on our goods going into these other countries, which means we are going to have to it'll hurt our export manufacturing base. There are two sides to the equation, Lee Beercat. And if you only listen to Donald Trump, what you hear are the lies. You listen to progressives, you hear both sides of the story. Come on, let's stop the mental enslavement. Please stop the mental enslavement. Paul Fleming says, whoa, watch a constitutional law expert completely debunk Republican censorship crusade while articulating how Donald Trump is threatening freedom of speech. I'll have to look at that one after, my brother. Okay, what else have we got here? Let's see what else have we got here. Okay, let's see what else have we got here. I don't have anything else. Let's move on. Lee Grant. All right. Lee Grant says, so it's okay to mock people for their disabilities? No, it's not. Is this progressive empathy? No. We're not mocking Greg Abbott for his disability. We're mocking Greg Abbott because he's an evil man. That's the reason why. That's the reason why Crockett mocked him, because he is an evil person. All right, but EGMCP thinks Eric thinks it's a bad thing, but Trump always did it, and this was okay, showing your mind. But again, why are you mentioning Eric? Eric cannot critically think. So therefore, let him articulate as much as he wants on the chat, because what he says makes no sense. But it's okay. He's here. Some of what we say may plant a seed. We don't know. We hope. We can hope, right? We can hope. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says, I'm disabled. Yeah, Paul, I remember you did an interview with me speaking about that. Lee the Bearcat says, I think charges have been brought up against Crockett. They can't bring charges against Crockett. Anyway, Lee Grant says, no, that's a conversation. Patrick is in the house. Meow. How are you doing, Patrick from Houston, Texas? Let's see. You know what I noticed? The MAGA base, there's this thing that they do, right? They pick a subject. Today's Crockett. And then all of them, every single dome, every single right-wing rag, every single right-wing station, every single mentally deprived MAGA person starts talking about Crockett. It is like, it's amazing, right? Progressives need to do something like that. Messaging. Everybody's on Crockett right now. She is the star right now for calling Hot Wheels, Hot Wheels Abbott. So let me say it then. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with our Hot Wheels Abbott. Okay? The man is a clear and present danger to Americans and has gotten people crossing over the Rio Grande River killed. So much for believing in the sanctity of life. He probably means a sanctity in a set of lives of Americans, and only a particular group, that is. All right. What else are we saying here? Paravid. No idea what he's saying. So therefore, I'm doing what you taught me, Breach. You ignore idiocy, right? Come on, Breach. You taught me that. All right. Part 2 of Elon's ketamine use segment from interview with Don Lemon. Why does Elon not know he's burying himself further in the hole? I don't know. I have no idea. He has a company that's ultimately going to fail. The only thing that holds up Tesla will be government intervention, because Tesla does not have a product that has kept up with the Chinese products. And the only way he stays in power is if we continue to prevent those Chinese electric cars from coming into America. Only way his car company survives. All right, let's see. What else have we got here? Trinidad is the same. Patrick Magno. Yep, Trinidad is the same. You're absolutely right. Lee the Bearcat says prices are not high. It is a rate more than price. No. Now, it is both price and rate. The rate only talks about the level at which those prices keep increasing. You only care about the rate because based on the rate, you know the price is going to increase, Lee the Bearcat. Let's see. Joe says Nicolas Herr from Venice too. I don't know what that is. Joe from Los Angeles, welcome aboard. AC Rodriguez says, if I pay 40% on my income, then so should the rich. I agree. And we should let them get away with borrowing against the assets. Actually, the rich should pay more, right? Because I don't know why we always think about things on the progressive side, right? As you make more money, a larger percentage of your money should go in. Because if I make $1 billion and I pay 40%, I'm still left with $600 million, right? So when you only do things on a percentage, you skew the absolute number that we're talking about. As you make more, you owe a hell of a larger percentage back to society. And I can do some numerical analysis on that for you. All right, Lee the Bearcat says, no tariffs if you manufacture in America, thus making the slogan proper made in America for American jobs. Of course, but the other side of the equation is a lot of these manufacturers export, and the tariffs cause reciprocal tariffs, which reduces your exporting, which reduces your jobs. It's not a zero-sum gain. You got to understand the concepts, Lee the Bearcat. Madre mia, por favor. All right, what else have we got here? Paul Fleming says, Mike Johnson admitted that he met late at night with Trump officials to discuss plans about gutting Social Security. Americans across the country are now paying the price. Longer wait times, closing offices, and staff shortages. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, what else have we got here? Cadillac has electric vehicles that go up to 535 miles on a charge. Lucid also has an electric vehicle that goes 540 miles on a charge. I think the next thing they're working on is the speed of each charge. So other companies are trying to keep up with China. Yep, yep. But when you think electric cars, today I think in America people still think Tesla, 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 right? So we have to take that out, and that's why Tesla stock is falling. All right, there are two stories that I want to mention. The first, I'm going to do it before I do my book. Privatization warning, and this one I want you guys to notice. Privatization warnings flash red as Senate Republicans advance Dr. Oz for Medicare Chief. America, you have to get calling your congressperson today and make it very, very clear that you don't want Medicare Advantage. You don't want a privatized Medicare system. It is essential. I have this story on the screen right now from Common Dreams. Privatization warnings flash red. It says the U.S. Senate Finance Committee voted along party lines Tuesday to advance the nomination of Dr. Mehmet Oz, President Donald Trump's nominee to head the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, a move that drew widespread rebuke from consumer advocates as others pointed to the celebrities' surging advocacy for private Medicare Advantage plans and other red flags. Read that article. It's in the link. It is in the post for today. Please, people, remember this. Medicare Advantage is a fraud. Medicare Advantage costs a whole lot more than traditional Medicare. And if we would take the money from Medicare Advantage, throw it into Medicare, we could actually get rid of the 20%, the 20% portion of Medicare that people are responsible for. It is important that we start getting there, my dear brothers and sisters. It is important. All right, let's see what else we got here. So please read that story. The other story that I want to cover is this is how it's done. I don't know how many of you know there was a state senate race in Pennsylvania, and it was in a district controlled that Donald Trump carried by 15 points. Let me read it. It says, this is how it's done. Dems flip a Pennsylvania state senate district Trump carried by 15 points. Democrats are cheering the Pennsylvania special election victory of state senate candidate James Malone, who on Tuesday narrowly beat his Republican opponent and flipped a district that voted for U.S. President Trump over presidential candidate Kamala Harris by over 15 points. U.S. Rep. Chris DeLucia, Democrat of Pennsylvania, congratulated Malone on winning the race for the state's 36th senatorial district on social media on Tuesday, writing that he was proud to stump with Malone in the borough of East Petersburg, where Malone serves as mayor. This is a huge upset and an historic win for a Democrat in a Trump-won district, and we are leading the way in Pennsylvania. This is what we're talking about. As we see the destruction that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all these incompetent people are doing in the House and elsewhere, what we show is that we have the ability, if we fight, to take it all back. Think about that. Think about that. So that speaks well for the district in Florida, the two districts in Florida and the district in New York. As people see that Donald Trump is attempting to take away their Social Security, is attempting to take over their Medicare and get rid of a lot of Medicaid, people are starting to say, oh my God, Donald Trump does not have my interests at hand, and they are voting accordingly. Kudos to Pennsylvania. U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also touted the win on social media. This is how it's done. Run everywhere, run down ballot, focus on local elections. ASAP from school board to council to state legislatures. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin also congratulated Malone and cast the victory as a repudiation of how Republicans have governed in Washington, D.C. since Trump returned to the White House. Yes, and that's what we are going to see all over the country. But it takes you. You have to go out there and we have to get the job done. We have to make the association with MAGA, Republican, conservative, equal, social security destruction, Medicare destruction, Medicaid destruction, SNAP destruction. We remember I said there are two sides to every equation. One side of the equation is conservative, and the next equality is destruction of social services. MAGA equal destruction of social services. MAGA, Republican, conservatives of today equal destruction of social safety net. That has to be made. I mean acutely. That analogy. Whenever people think MAGA, they need to think I'm losing my social security. Whenever they think MAGA, they need to think I'm losing my Medicare. Whenever they think MAGA, it means destruction. And that between now and every election forward, that is the narrative that must be out there. That is the narrative that I will be placing out there because that is a narrative that is truthful. If you look at what Congress is trying to do by reconciliation right now, that's a statement of fact. Bridge MCP says, Maddow starts her show pretty much every night with all the protests. I noticed that hundreds every day. My brother, Patrick Magner, talk to me, sir.
I couldn't tell if it was a good time or not. Social Security has been coming up a lot in the last few days, and I called in a few weeks ago, and I also sent you some information, some emails that indicate that either 23 or 26 states currently have laws on the books that hold us liable for our elders.
You did tell me that, yes.
Indigent. Okay. Now, if you combine that with the idea that all these Hexef and JD Vance and everybody are wanting people to have more kids, when I first heard that, that's something that's typical of white nationals and people that are trying to outbreed other races. But then it makes even more sense when you look at it in the context that they're going to try and put us on the hook for people that are in our family that can't make it without Social Security. So when our parents or grandparents or even maybe an estranged father you've never even met can't make ends meet, we're going to be on the hook for it. And in 1945, 42 states, I believe, had these laws in the books. It was what the system they used before Social Security. So when all this goes away, we become Social Security, the working class. They're going to come after our money.
Yep. It is sad, but what a lot of people don't see is what's trying to be here. They're trying to turn us as economists. God, I don't remember his name right now. He pointed out that they're trying to turn this into simply a rental society, one in which you own nothing and you're completely dependent on the employer, the billionaire. And I think unless people start to get that, there's a section of my book I want to read on how to make America Utopia, but kind of dragging on to what you said there. One of the things that they want to ensure is that you own nothing. You remember when your parents owned a home and everybody convinced after that home is owned, it can be transferred to the next generation and they get the value of that house because now you have an asset that you can turn over after paying for all these years. Well, even that they found mechanisms to take away from you because now you have a lot of people living because they're living so tight with their money. They're convinced the next thing to do is take a vacation and take out, you deserve it. You worked hard all of your life. Why not take a reverse mortgage on your home? And all these people have been using the assets that they've accumulated in their homes and been indoctrinated into taking out that reverse mortgage. And as they take out the reverse mortgage, a lot of these older people are then doing what again? Losing the home as soon as they pass away. And kids who thought, well, I have I've got the inheritance from my parents, they realize that what they have is nothing because the house then reverts to the bank. I mean, there's so much out there that's trying to get rid of what we own. Go ahead.
I want to correct you a little bit. It's not even, they're not even waiting till our parents and grandparents die. Once they go into a reverse mortgage, the bank holds ownership. And then
Right.
so when an elderly person can't keep up with their house, say shingles are missing,
Right.
the yard's not getting cut, the trash isn't getting picked up, they take the house. So they don't even wait for them to die.
I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that part.
Yeah, banks prematurely foreclose on homes when they're not being kept up, and they say that it's because the value is going to diminish.
Right.
And so they say that they're protecting their asset, the bank, and so it's a scheme to steal the house before they die. And it happens a lot.
That part I did not know. Thank you for giving that information. That's why I tell you we got the smartest listeners. Anyway, Patrick, I want to read a quick portion here from my How to Make America Utopia. Anything else you want to say real quickly?
No, I'll save it for another day. I'd like to hear you.
All right. Thank you, my brother. All right, folks. A couple of years ago, I wrote this book called How to Make America Utopia. And the big thing is DEI and lifting yourself up by the bootstraps. And what I want to do is there are a couple of chapters, chapter 8 and chapter 7, that I want to go into. And I tell you something else, some economic realities. For anybody who wants to read the entire book, becoming a subscriber to our newsletter, politicsandright.com/newsletter, a paid subscriber gets to read all my books, free of charge. And these are all my books, all right? A bunch of them. And it's all on Substack as well. But I want to say this. Chapter 7 says, the meritocracy fallacy, you are invited, not chosen. We talk a lot about DEI. So here's what I said. Many believe we live in a meritocracy. In my previous book, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, I touched on merit and the chosen in 2 chapters that is apropos. In the chapter, We Must Take Back Our Wealth from the Super Rich Methodically Because It Is Too Late, where I included a speech by Mr. Gecko in the Wall Street movie that encapsulated the essence of capitalism in the form we practice, I wrote the following. I learned about free enterprise, but was never indoctrinated by what our business schools try to impart on our students. Capitalism is not free enterprise, and Gecko was not an unrealistic character. We have come to see that today's plutocrats create more damage to the world's economy than he ever could. They made an attractive, immoral pilfering system acceptable, while still going through the process of learning the real economic system beyond the macroeconomic courses I took. I went to see the Eddie Murphy movie Trading Places. While the movie Wall Street was confirming Trading Places was the movie that opened my eyes to the fraud of a system where those who produced with their labor and intellect were not the beneficiaries of their worth. Eddie Murphy's character was a bum on the streets. 2 plutocrat brothers made a bet that would turn an executive into a bum and a bum into a Wall Street executive. The experiment was successful for the brother who turned Eddie from a bum into a stock executive, a trading executive. The movie had a socioeconomic message, but most importantly, it showed how detached the capital markets are from reality. Even though it was just a movie, research shows there is little knowledge of anything substantive needed to be a player in the capital markets. Henceforth, if you take a look at Donald Trump, doesn't know much, but he's very rich. Elon Musk doesn't know much, but he owns companies, very rich. The capital market doesn't require a whole lot of intelligence. One just needs to be chosen to be a member of the club. I repeat, one just needs to be chosen to be a member of the club. And being a member affords one an inordinate amount of control over the lives of millions, thanks to our corporate structure. The plutocrat brothers in the movie bet $1 on the experiment and would have destroyed 2 lives in the process had Eddie Murphy's character not exposed the bet. Unfortunately for most Americans, those responsible for discovering the bets or willfully asleep at the wheel. And Americans have been paying the price for this for more than 40 years. No human being has provided enough labor and intellect in our economy to be worth $100 million, let alone billions of dollars. That hoarding of capital is on the backs of most working people, directly or indirectly. I am sure you have worked for companies and have seen manipulation like the former, where advancement had little to do with the person's actual worth. Some are chosen just because. I am sure you're acquainted with many singers who are on par or better than many megastars. Many artists were chosen by the industry. The internet has added some temporary democratization and meritoriousness to the process, but the major corporations controlling the internet plumbing, the corporation structure still has ultimate control. The sad reality is that the former applies to so many aspects within our economic system. I further pointed out in a chapter of my book, It's Worth It, titled Our Economic System Depends on Your Path to Mediocrity, the following inconvenient truths. One, economic system is not based on pure merit. Instead, it is based on being chosen. In other words, there are many who are qualified, but only a few are chosen. Many MBAs are just as qualified for any job at banks and investment banking firms, but a select few are chosen based on subject criteria within the qualified group. This applies from profession to profession. Since the 70s, we have had a 400% productivity increase. It's even more now. In that scenario, we should be working 10 hours a week with abundant leisure time. The rest of the world was like the heat sink of the internal combustion engine or air conditioner for American capitalism. It afforded a bloated plutocracy, but there was enough for the working class. But to sustain the plutocracy's desire for growth rates, the American worker became the final source of extraction. As they reached the level of indentured servitude, the entire system collapsed. We are reaching that point of collapse as we speak right now. For us to make a change, we must first understand the pathology of the masters of the economic system under which we live. After understanding it, we can easily see why the masses will never succeed. If we are to correct our system, it will mean creating a real free enterprise economic system where those who were not chosen or did not want to be chosen can function within an economy where they can succeed because of an established social safety net, meaning Medicare for all, childcare support, affordable education. Change starts with getting out of our indoctrination fog. As we continue to tell the inconvenient truths, minds are changed and we will have the tools to assert our worth, demand, and take what we have all worked for. And I don't have the time to get through it, but the other chapter that I want folks to read is the realities of our current economic system. I'll just read the first paragraph of the section. It says, over the years, I have written scores of essays about the perils of our economic system. In this chapter, I have modified a few of them to make them current. Interestingly, their relevancy to today's economy was astounding. There is still a lot of work to do. The reality is that for too many, it has been a continual slide down the economic state. Folks, that this book is if you take a look at it, and by the way, those of you who becomes paid subscribers of our newsletter get to read the entire book on the Substack platform. It's called How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. You can find it at Amazon as well. You can go to politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/books to pick it up. Folks, let me tell you, we have to take control of our own personal economies. But to do that, we have to ensure that the billionaire does not control our government, who control our ability to further progress. It's important that we cut the billionaires down to size. There is no one worth $1 billion. There is no one worth $100 million. Nobody has created that. That is all monies that was stolen from you legally, but stolen nonetheless. I got to get out of here. It's 4:01. I want to ask all of you to consider becoming supporters of our program. supporters of this entire platform. It's not just this program. It is our TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Telegram Live. It is the shorts that we create to make sure the message continues to be flowing in the progressive space. It's a matter of flooding the zone. So please become a subscriber, a paid subscriber. And how can you do that? You can simply do that by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. There are many ways to support us otherwise. Our all-encompassing area of support, meaning where you can find one of many ways to support us, is at politicsdoneright.com/support. But again, I'm asking, I need to get up to about 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 paid subscribers. We're just under, I think, 360 or somewhere around there. We need a little over 1,000 more possible. Let's go ahead and please, those of you who can, consider becoming a paid subscriber of the newsletter. It is very, very inexpensive, and you know that you feel that you're doing good because we do the work every single day. I got to get out of here. Love you all. If you need to send me a note directly, info@politicsdoneright.com, info@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want.